What's up, guys? We're gonna Bro Beats. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys some things you can do to kind of level up your melodies or beats. If you guys haven't subbed already, I'll turn this on. Do so because it does it a lot. Let's hop right into it. So basically we just go ahead and grab in a scale, and I'm gonna just probably run with just a minor. Let's do like an E minor. All right, and let's go ahead and get started, and I'll kind of explain everything as I go. All right, so throughout this video, I will be explaining things as I go. So if you want to follow along, I'll explain in detail everything I want to talk about. But in this part, I want to talk about sound selection. So I'll just briefly go over it. I'm not going to go into super detail, but the approach I want to take is kind of structuring it like this. And I think this would be a lot better for people, because what people do is they just load up VSTs and they just pick any sound they like. You don't want to do that, because any sound you like is not always the best sound to use. So what you want to do is usually have a main sound. Unless you are really skilled and you already know what you're doing, you can kind of bypass this. But if you don't, you want to pick a main sound, okay? And no other sound should be like, not better, but like louder or have more energy than this, right? So this is the sound I picked. I think this is default, I'm not sure. Okay, and the rest of these sounds should support my main sound, right? They shouldn't overtake this, right? And this is prep for later when you want to make a like verse and hook, because it'll already be set in stone, because all you have to do for the verse is take out the main sound. Okay, so I'll explain when we make the melody. You'll see examples. So let's go ahead and actually get started with the melody. Okay, and with my main sound, I'll just kind of show you an example real quick. You have this, and these are my support. You can see these aren't as strong. Like, you can still hear them, but they're not as strong as this. So that's kind of what I mean. And in this part, I want to talk about range and rhythm. So I'll just talk about it as we go and we build. Pretty much you want to open up. So like, say you have this chord, you know, you don't want to just always have it looking like this, right? Right, you want to spread the notes out and try to get some range, so you don't have to use a lot. So let's go ahead and start like a bass line. So let's take this, and you could just do something like this, right? Pull this down, and you can kind of use these notes over here somewhere. So we can maybe start here, and then maybe move this over, and then you just fill in between. Let me see. Okay, now the rhythm part, right, is offsetting it. So this is completely on the grid, right? These little sectors, but putting it in between these little areas will give you rhythm. So how you can get bounce is combining the offset parts and the parts that are on the grid. Okay, so doing something like, you could do something like this, right? But it's super robotic. But literally just moving this over one could change it. So hopefully that helps a little bit. So now what we can do is kind of just put some chords here. Now there are plenty of ways you can get here. Now if you want to move this chord up, you know, all the way up, you could, and then just delete some notes to open it up. You could take this. Okay, so this is the original chord. You can move these up an octave, stuff like that. And then let's take this note, pull it up an octave, and let's see, maybe this will work, right? Just pull it out. And then since this is sounding like a hyper pop type of thing, let's just do like a double part right here. And let's take this note, pull it up. You can see we're starting to build a melody. And then we're gonna change our grid to 1/4. And then this little rhythm here, right? So this kind of rhythm will give you some bounce, at least with this like hyper pop style. And then we can just go ahead and keep adding stuff in. Let's see. That same rhythm, right? As you can see, the same little rhythm. And then let's move this one up. Okay, so that's the melody for now. So now let's go ahead and move on to the next part. All right, so real quick, I just want to talk about variation. Now, people either do too much or not enough, which will either make your melody sound repetitive or just completely different, have different rhythms, which is not good. So basically, I just want to go over how to do that real time. So with this part, you can see we kind of having a flow that's going up, right? So we can kind of pick a note. Now, what note? You could kind of choose one of these notes, pull it up an octave. I would probably choose this G just because it's closer. Or you could take the original chord that you had and pull some of these notes up, right? So let's use this one, and then we could, I like that. Okay, so I like that one. And let's keep this little rhythm going. So what I'm gonna do is delete this. Let's take these B's and move them over, and then you just make some variation, right? And for this, if we want to delete this, let's take this, move this over, but let's do like a stab now. Right, and you can use any notes you want. I'm just being lazy, right, for the sake of the video. So now that we have that out the way, right, so you just want to add a few little things, few little changes, right? And then let's pull this over. Okay, now if we want to make an entirely new melody somewhere, right, one tip that I like to use is starting like to keep the rhythm and everything, starting where one of your notes are already at. Okay, so if we want to make a melody like right here on this side, we will start on the same exact note. That way, because when you hear it, it'll start to sound like the same melody, but it's not going to be the same melody. So let's do something like this. Okay, so let's take this, move this over. Well, I guess I could have just delete these, and we can make a whole new melody. So right, because it still sounds like it's the same thing over here, but it's gonna switch up, right? So okay, and you can see it kind of sounds like the same, but it kind of tricks you at the end of it. Okay, and then I'm sure over here we have a B somewhere in that area. Yeah, so it matches up. So that's something you can do and how you can kind of work your variation. So that's kind of the hardest part of this video, really. So everything else is kind of streamlined and just quick. So let's go ahead and do those. All right, so I want to talk about counters real quick, and this is the sound we're using. So with counters, what I want to touch on is kind of not having it be annoying, right? You want it to be like a dopamine hit. You want it to come in and then leave, right? Sound really good, come in, do its job, and then leave, right? Kind of support the main melody. But when you add a lot and it's a lot going on, you have like super repeating melodies over and over and over again, it kind of makes the melody muddy. Okay, so we just pick a note. It doesn't really matter. Just pick a note that you really like, something that sounds good. I like that one. Okay, I like that, right? And then I'm gonna just leave it, right? Just let it play. And then we can just copy it over, honestly. We could be lazy, pull it up an octave, just to save a little bit of time, okay? Okay, so that is the counter, very brief, and let's move on to the next ones. All right, and those are pretty much the main thing. So with the rest of our supports, we can just layer. So here's the sound I have, is like an ambient sounds, and this one, okay, just like a little pluck. Okay, but if you notice, none of these sounds have more energy or are louder than my main sound. So let's copy this here, and then let's pull these plucks up an octave. Let's play it. And this is a little too loud. All right, so that is it. And let's go ahead and move on to our low end. All right, so now we're starting our drums. And the main tip for this is go simple and then complex. Nobody really starts complex, right? So a lot of people try to emulate like all these crazy drums that they hear in songs, but you gotta understand they started simple first. So let's take this little bass line and we can just go real simple with this. And then let's just copy it over. We don't have to do anything crazy. I want these to stop slightly. Okay, I like that for the low end. So let's move on to the next drums. All right, so now we have our kick and everything. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of fast forward the boring part. So like when I add like this stuff, I'm gonna fast forward through that. But like if I do the hi-hats or anything like with the, like if I change anything in the piano roll, I will show that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add this stuff in. Okay, so now we have our hi-hats and we can just fill each 2 steps. And then let's just go in and just add some little things. Just do like a then let's do like something. And we could copy this over. Okay, so those are the drums, simple as that. Of course we can mix it, but I'm just leave it dry. So here's the entire beat and I'll just play it with the main and off the main as we go. So here we go. All right, and that is pretty much it. Again, we haven't done any processing, so that is a whole nother step. But as far as the notes go, that should be good enough. So that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Make sure you like, subscribe if I'm new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.